Welcome to the May 4th edition of Dong City. Henry Maldonado Jr., Vince Mercandetti. We got Brian Bernes again. And what would have been the May 4th MLB giveaway in every stadium, we are still quarantined. So
I like that.
we have a lot to get to. May 4th is the best day and one of the best days in all of baseball, man. Teams get good. They have the parades on the field. They have the giveaways. You know, it's one of those days that sucks not to have any baseball.
Yeah, we're gonna miss a few of those. Mother's Day, May 4th, opening day, obviously the traditional one. But wearing the American hat, you blasted Star Wars. Both those things make me very happy because I am as optimistic as ever. And we never gave up on this season, but I am as optimistic as ever. There will definitely be baseball, and I think we can even pinpoint, and it's what we already predicted, exactly when it might start. Thank you, Henry and Brian, again for joining me. We have a few articles we're going to get to today that have come out in this past week, starting with Jeff Passan's big article in ESPN, which was then immediately trumped by Bob Nightingale, which was then immediately trumped by the Tampa Bay Times. And now, as of just a few minutes ago, all of that's trumped by Trevor Plouffe, the former Twin. I don't know where he is now. I feel like he's in a hitting park somewhere.
Yeah, literally down the park.
So, and Brian, I think we might be losing you there, but there you are.
Podcaster, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's just a podcaster, isn't he?
Trevor Plouffe?
Yeah, or is he still playing? Oh, I thought he was just
I'm pretty sure he's still playing. I can't imagine he's not.
I think he's still playing.
Oh, okay, my bad.
That's our first question here to the group is let us know if Trevor Plouffe is physically on a team right now. But he did just tweet that he has been told by multiple sources spring training is going to start June 10th, I think is the date he gave out there. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, which kind of correlates with everything else that's come out. And I've been told he's not still playing. So there you go. Good call, Brian. So former Major League Baseball player Trevor Plouffe's been told by multiple sources that spring training is going to start sometime in mid-June. I think June 10th is the date he gave out. Let's back this up, Henry and Brian, to the original timeline. Let's start with Jeff Passan's article. We can kind of go through it, dissect it a little bit, and then discuss the updates to it and get your take. But before all of that, let me know, both of you. We'll start with Henry. Again, same question I asked you a couple of months ago. When is baseball starting?
I had the original date was July 4th, and it looks like I'm right on the mark. I'm going to go with July 4th.
Brian, what do you think? Brian, you can, since you're new to this, you can say, first of all, do you think there will be baseball? And if you do, when do you think it'll start?
So I was kind of resigned to the fact that because I think it's a lot more complicated than just not having fans in the stands, trainers, media, PR people, whatever. I was resigned to the fact that I didn't think we were going to have it. I thought it was kind of a fluff to kind of like get through a PR thing of like instead of holding out hope till the last possible second, because I feel like that's what corporations do is make you hold out hope to the last minute, like, oh yeah, sorry guys, when the whole time we knew there wasn't going to be baseball. Let's just say hypothetically there was going to be baseball. So I'm actually, and partially because I just didn't want to disappoint myself.
Yeah,
I didn't want to get my hope.
Fans are doing that now. Is they're kind of safeguarding against themselves by saying there's definitely not going to be baseball, even though in the back of their mind, I think they believe there's going to be baseball.
I mean, not to get all trapped, but I mean, don't you guys think? I mean, it's not just players and fans. I mean, there's the media, there's PR people, there's front office people that are there day to day. There's the people in the clubhouse attendants. I mean, I just think there's a lot more to it,
Yeah, well, one of these articles we'll discuss, Brian, is going to go over the barriers we still have to cross. But
right.
For now, though, I mean, where you're at in this exact moment, do you feel there's going to be baseball?
Yeah. Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I think as long as we progress, as we're trending as a country, I think there will be. Like I said, I think I always thought like Henry, if there was baseball, it was going to be, maybe not July 4th. I was going to say like mid-July.
Okay, so you're a mid-July guy.
Yeah.
I said the first time we did this to fill you in, Brian, Henry and I discussed this back in February, like before the quarantine, or like right after the quarantine started. And we both had decided, I looked through the Yankees schedule in particular, and we found that if the season started the first week of July sometime, they can get 90 games in. And if they condensed it a little bit with like double headers and whatnot, or combining 2-game series into one day, they can get it probably to about 100 games. It's like a realistic number if you started in July and if you also backed the season up by 1 week. So it would end basically going into the second week of November instead of right around Halloween. I think as the season is right now, I think it would end like October 26th-ish. But if you had a 7-game World Series and you extended it a week, I think it would go through like the first week of November. So that was what we originally arrived at. Now, I don't think much has changed from that timeline. Henry, I think that Passan brings up a good point. And to your point, Brian, May is going to be the absolute crucial month. It's do or die time. Mm-hmm. They need to know whether they can advance by the end of this month. And when I say advance, I mean start summoning people for spring training. Because if you go into July without starting spring training, you're then talking about the season not starting till late July or August. And then you're talking about something extreme, something less than an 80-game season, or something that's not a season at all. It's more like a tournament, or playing into like, which Henry likes, or playing into like December, something completely unprecedented that would be completely abnormal.
Well, and like Rizzo said, with that, then you jeopardize almost 2 seasons. Because
and then you have to talk, or you're right, you then have to talk about how does 2021 start when you are cutting off the winter.
Right, like literally, free agency starts. I mean, I know in regular time free agency starts, right, like maybe a day after the World Series, 2 days after. Well, you almost have to sign guys like 2 or 3 weeks after free agency starts, when now it could be 1 or 2 months. I don't know. I just think there's a lot. Rizzo brought that point up. Anthony Rizzo did. And I thought it was a good point. It's like timelines are already shifted for this season. How are you going to make sure that it doesn't screw up 2021?
We touched on that, and I think what we came to is it'd be a great time to reduce the number of games overall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's get into that aspect of things. There's variables. We're going to get to those that still have to be crossed. Matt, you had commented, I'm talking about spring training starting in mid-June. Everyone seems to think the regular season's that first week of July sometime at this point with what we know now, and the pace of which states are opening up, assuming that there's not like insane pushback from that. But I would personally say July 1st, and I only say July 1st is the middle of the week, and I think July 4th would be that first weekend where all teams are playing, and that is, I'm talking ratings through the ass, if you can pull that off. If you have just baseball July 4th weekend, everyone's feeling super patriotic because there's baseball on, and you're through the quarantine, that's massive.
Not to mention, having an opening day on July 4th would mean MLB got it right, so I don't expect
Americana.
Yeah, I mean, that would be one of the most memorable 4th of Julys, definitely in our lifetime, maybe in our nation's history. And I'm not even exaggerating. If you have the only season I think that's gone through June with no actual baseball, and you're starting at July 4th weekend, it's huge. And they don't need an all-star weekend if you're starting it then. So that's the goal. Now, there's a lot of things that we kind of have to discuss, one of which is in the news. They've been going back and forth as far as how we're going to go about this, which is obviously there's some big question marks there. But alignment-wise, I know Henry and I are on the same page with this from a Yankees fan standpoint. I'm all about the spring training. If you want to give us the Grapefruit League, I am all about it, because that means Pirates and Marlins, and it doesn't mean we're really taking on much else as far as elite teams go. But the thing Tampa Bay Times released, much to my dismay, is that now they're talking like East teams are in one place, West teams are in one place, Central, and it's going to be 3 hubs. You do that from a Yankee fan standpoint, and Brian, I don't know if you've looked at this from a Cubs fan standpoint. Yankee fan standpoint, that means we're taking on the Nationals. We're taking on the Mets, who always play us tough. taking on the Phillies, who should be decent. We're getting the Marlins, but then we're also getting the Nationals and Braves. So that to me is a downgrade. Plus the AL East, which is always usually a pain in the ass to begin with. But
I'm look. I want to see. Last time I looked, we were against a lot of like the AL Central, so it'd be like the Tigers, Twins. We would have the Cardinals in our division. Last time I feel like it's switched a couple times. I could be wrong.
I think I think they line up. I mean, it would be the East, the Centrals, and West in the three hub scenario, which I think is like Arizona, Florida, and maybe one other place that's close to the Midwest. But then there's also this new one. What Trevor Plouffe, I think, in his tweet said that he didn't think that they would have any hubs. It would just be home stadiums opening, which I find a little far-fetched.
Home stadiums. He didn't really get too much into it, but he just said home stadiums.
Yeah, which I don't. As optimistic as I am, I don't see any way the Yankees have opening day in July.
Can I just say, though, that I love this era we're growing up in, how, anyone's a media source, basically. But I kind of miss the days where Buster Olney and Peter Gammons were my sources, and that was it.
Well, when you blame ESPN, they decided to abandon baseball, so.
Yeah, but it's just like, but like even before, there was just like, there was no Trevor Plouffe, whether he's on the roster or not, saying sources. It was ESPN, and that was it. It wasn't like half journalists saying stuff. You
have the players who want to get into media, and I guess breaking stories is the quickest way to do it.
Which now that I know he's not playing, that's almost certainly Trevor Plouffe's angle in this, is trying to get into the media in some capacity.
Exactly.
What if he's dead wrong? It's just kind of one of those things, like, not that we can go back, like we wasted our time here, but what if he's completely dead wrong?
His journalistic integrity equals his playing career, which is shitty.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I mean, Florida and Arizona are the natural hubs because they've got all the spring training facilities. So you can easily, just between those two places, you can easily, I think, have 15 or 30 stadiums. You add a third hub, it makes it even better, and the travel's minimalized. So I get all the logic there. It's really a question of, I think, what condition the states are going to be in. And also, that's the one logistics thing I'm a little confused about is, what if, say, 19 teams are good starting at home? Are you going to go that route, or are you going to stick everyone in a hub even if their states are open? Because, like, again, like the Yankees and Mets are not – there's almost no way they're playing opening day in New York. So it's not going to be every team that's open. So what do you do in that case?
Especially not on the same day.
Right. Yeah, also a good point. I mean, are the Yankees going to be front-loaded on the road where they're just playing on the road for a month? Because that doesn't seem fair either. So I don't know what the plan is for that. There's other variables too. But the other things we want to throw in here, Brian, I'll get your take on this, is Henry and I have all sorts of conspiracy theories on this season. That this is very much a trial year for a lot of things. We've got social distancing in place, so we're going to have some robot umps or some sort of umpire adjustments. They've already taken a 30% pay cut since we last talked. So certainly if you have robot umps, you're not going to be making the full salary you used to make because you're doing less work. We've got the games are going to need to be faster, maybe less innings, because you're going to have closer together, less off days. So those 7-inning double headers are probably going to be put in play this year. Universal DH, because you might be mixing your AL and NL teams. That's going to probably be in play this year. I'm trying to think of other things that we've talked about, Henry, where this is a shortened season in general. They've been talking about that for a while. How are fans going to react with a shorter sample size, expanded rosters, because you're going to need more pitchers if you're having games so close together, and a lot of double headers. So the rosters might be 30 players this year, something around that. Previously, it was 25, set to be 26 this season anyway. They might just skip over that, go to 30. The trade deadline, the expanded rosters in September were already going to be adjusted. Now, who knows what they're going to go with. So all these things happening. Do you think there's any credence there, Brian? Do you think that this is the trial season for a lot of things that might stick in the future?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think just like any other industries that are probably doing trial runs right now on a lot of things. And then after this is over, they're like, oh, well, this happened to work, so then we'll just do this for the next 50 years. Yeah. And I think, we know the robot umpires is coming already. That was coming, within the next 5 years, pandemic or not. I think I know the shorter season thing's tricky because less season, less money, and no one wants to do that. Players, TV, executives, TV contracts, all that stuff. But do I think that 7 inning doubleheaders will last past this year? I don't think so. I think there's a lot of baseball has, as we both know, baseball has a lot of old timers opinions to it, old timer like stigma, I guess, where change is very hard,
Mm-hmm.
and to change the framework that much, I just don't think it'd be changed. But I think baseball, it's sport. It's like a lot of other industries. It's,
Yeah. Money is going to guide it. I'm sure, Henry, you have thoughts on that.
Oh, always. But Fran in the comment section brings up a good point about, I'm sure, Super 2 status and how we deal with minor leaguers and service time will also be affected drastically as well. So.
Well, and my thing is, guys, say we have a season. Are you guys worried about the product that we would see? Like, yeah, we have baseball, but think about what I think wasn't maybe the NFL that went through it was like the officiating. Like the product was awful. They were there, but we never replaced them with officials.
I think you can make an argument that the product will be better because you have less games and they have to be more competitive. So,
Right.
Traditionally you hear them say baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. So, you can close a 10-game gap in a month or so where you may not have that time now. So every game counts. Get your ass out there. If you're not 100%, go play. Where we've kind of been, cushioning players now. So I think actually it's the opposite. I think we'll get better baseball somehow.
You think? Oh, that's good. And I just wanted to throw that out there because, with having to start up, calm down, rev up back again, I don't know. I just feel like it could be rough for a first portion of the season.
I have concerns, Brian, about the stopping and starting. I don't know. I'm guessing it's individualized by medical staff per team. I don't know what the plan is to ramp back up. I know that they're going to do another spring training, but I don't know if there's any sort of issues from the first spring training. And I don't know like the lifeline of a pitcher in particular in this situation going into the regular season. Are you because like in April, like pitchers are still kind of getting eased in until really like towards the mid to end of the month when they're on full pitch counts and everything's all systems go. Are you going to do that in a short season when you have maybe 90 games to decide your entire season? Because that I don't know. So that's the one thing I worry about. The other thing I worry about is Aaron Boone in particular, just from a selfish standpoint. Is he going to still bench guys twice a week like he does in a 162-game season? Because then you have like Gleyber Torres playing 50 games. And and I don't know if I can deal. I don't know if he's smart enough, and whoever is helping him with this pacing is smart enough to understand like smaller sample size means less margin for error. We can't just throw away games like we do every year. And the Yankees give away a good 5 to 10 games just by proxy of how much they bench guys. And I don't see a whole lot of results in that strategy where guys come back and they hit 3 home runs because they got benched the day before. I see a lot of guys who are red hot. He benches them. They're 24 years old, 26 years old, whatever. He benches them anyway. They come back and nothing's different. So that's my concern. I'm sure there's other managers out there that, you can comment if you're either Phillies, I'm guessing we're like that. I know Kapler was big in analytics. Girardi, I don't know if we'll be like that. But those are like my concerns
But that's what I was talking about, that I think because of that, how they manage changes as well. It has to.
It does have to.
Yeah, they have to adjust.
As far as the season being shortened, that doesn't really bother me. I don't think the quality will suffer, and I also don't think the season will be illegitimate. Because if you get a 90 or 100-game season, that to me is still a very large sample size of games. I know baseball is used to a larger one, but if this was happening to football and you had like a 9-game season, then to me, I'm like, there's a lot of teams out there who probably would have made the playoffs if they had a full 16, now soon to be 17-game season. Baseball, there's not a lot, especially right now, the way teams are constructed, there's not a lot I think that would change between game 90 and game 162. Like,
here's the thing. Baseball's already really random. You're right. Well, I agree. I just think that I pray to God that if it's not the Cubs winning the World Series, or I'll just say because I'm in front of Yankees fans, the Yankees, I pray to God it's like some random-ass team that would never win the World Series otherwise. Let's go to Royals, Pirates, Marlins, Padres, which is the Padres would be more closer because they're closer than those other teams.
Yeah.
But Mariners break their streak in this weird season. That's the only way the Mariners can win a World Series. Like, because it would to every fan not in that city, you're going to have an asterisk. You know, the conversation would be, well, you know, they only did it because of this, or, you know, baseball's so fluky that you had a 80-game season, it's going to be even flukier, you know?
I guess it depends. I mean, every year we have one or two teams that no one really saw being any good coming out and you know, being a competitive
Look at how these teams stayed in, like, September, August or September, that second half thing. But if the season ended at the All-Star break, best team in baseball.
Well, not to pick on them, but the Mets are a great example, I think.
Yeah,
It's a team who usually has a great first half or at least a really good first month. And maybe they'd still be kicking around. Last year was a bad example because they kind of sucked out in the middle of the year. But usually, that's a team that might trail off and miss a spot. But here's the counterpoint to that: there's going to be an expanded playoff, which is also a precursor for the future. Yeah. So those teams who maybe we're going to go on this run, like the Oakland A's come to mind. I feel like they've done it a couple times where they get red hot and then make the playoffs. And then you have other teams who might fall, like the Mariners have, you know, they might be hovering 500 and then they completely fall off. Those teams might still make the playoffs, though, because now we're talking maybe 14 teams are going to make the playoffs this year, I think, when all is said and done, instead of the 10 that we've been used to and the 8 before that.
Well, it's funny you brought up the Mets. I almost made a Mets joke about the starting and stopping because they have a hard enough time staying healthy just for the regular timeline. You know, starting and stopping, you're going 4/5 of the rotation on the DL first week of the second season.
The Yankees and Mets split a medical staff. I think, you know, we just share a medical staff and we both
it's a New York problem in general. Here's my concern, Brian, too, again, as a Yankee fan. Yes, we're probably getting Paxton, probably getting Judge. Maybe even at this point, we might be getting close to Hicks for opening day, which was a pipe dream in April. But if those guys come back and get hurt again, which everyone on the Yankees seems to be able to do, they're now gone for the year. And there's no second chances here. That scares the hell out of me.
Gary Sanchez is good for 2 DL stints a year.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Sanchez's groin starts barking in like late July, after he's been playing for a few weeks, he's out like most of the year at that point.
I mean, Chris Bryant, you know, it could be it's a fast turf out there in Arizona, so he could, you know, twist his ankle or something on a fast.
Yeah, guy gets hit in the hand this year by a pitch. He's out for 6 weeks. 6 weeks is what, half the season? So. Those are big concerns, and I can see that argument as far as, you know, is it legitimate, is it not? But I'm going from a sample size standpoint. If you can give me 90-plus games, I'm not questioning who won the World Series this year in the future. You know, you want to have this conversation 10 years from now, I'm not questioning it. I think you earned it, especially if you go through an expanded playoff.
I think if we have baseball at all, whoever wins, I mean, they're the champion.
Yeah, now you get into a tournament.
Do you think we're without fans the whole year? Do you think we're without fans in October?
No, I don't.
November, December.
I think we're gonna be without fans for a while. I think the thing that was weird about October is because October baseball, more so than any other time of year for baseball, is that atmosphere of, you know, 3-2 count. Everyone's yelling, screaming, whatever. And to have like Joe Buck and John Smoltz saying all that and not have any like emotion in the background, it'd just be weird. I feel like
tough for broadcasters.
I just feel like you'd be sitting at home like it's still October, especially if our teams are in it, but it feels like anticlimactic, you know? I don't know.
Just
we'll see how we feel when we get there, kind of thing.
Hard for players too. I mean, players feed off of that energy.
Yeah.
Man.
Right. I mean, LeBron James said it best. He's like, we're here for fans. It's like I get a lot of my energy right when the NBA started or stopped. He's like, I'm not going to play without fans. Like,
I'm very.
Why?
Not only that, it changes the sound of the game. So you have no fans. That ball getting hit, you know, it's going to hear different. We're going to hear every ball being caught by catchers. We're going to hear everything very differently. The sound of the game changes.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this. You know, over the years, I've heard like, you know, how I guess offensively friendly Arizona is. You know, the balls fly out of the ballpark, not just in the Arizona, but just in the different spring training facilities.
We know nothing about that.
Would you be, I don't know, how would you feel about every game being like a Coors Field game?
I mean,
possibly.
we dealt with 2 games in London last year. Nothing will
Yeah.
ever beat how shitty that experience was.
Oh, it was. I don't see. I wasn't up, and it didn't involve my teams. I just saw highlights. What was wrong with that?
It was brutal.
Everything. It was a home run derby.
Oh, really? Was it short porches?
I think every game was teams had double digits.
Yeah, it wasn't a great product because I mean you're talking like Yankees would lead by 6, Red Sox would come back the next inning. Red Sox would lead by 5, Yankees would come. Like it wasn't baseball. It was and yes, it was short dimensions. It was apparently like the way the ball traveled in the ballpark. Obviously the lineups were both elite, so that didn't help, but the pitching wasn't that for some reason they couldn't like grip the ball or something. I don't.
Yeah, the ball was different.
That's funny. The Cubs were supposed to go over there this year. They're not obviously not doing it now.
Yeah,
but
the Cards, right? That was supposed to be a Cubs.
Yeah.
Cubs.
Yeah.
Cancel the international game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In case you're curious, the divisions: Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, Nationals, Orioles, Phillies, Pirates, Blue Jays, Rays, Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the
so
Cubs.
That'd be awesome.
The Cubs, White Sox, Brewers, Cardinals, Royals, Reds, Indians, Twins.
So basically, the NL Central and AL Central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give Brian a better mic next time.
Yeah, Brian's getting cut out every.
But yeah, I agree with Brian. I think from all the proposals I've seen, that's the one I like the most. I think you get the most competitive baseball from that proposal.
You're talking the grapefruit one?
No, not the grapefruit one. The 3 division 10-team one.
Yeah, this is the Nightingale story from 6 days ago.
Gotcha. All right, so that one.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite realignment proposal so far. Outside of the Braves and the Pirates, I don't get how that worked logistically. But
I would love if you can have at least 4 hubs. Because then you've got basically a normal playoff in my mind. Like I know it's not 6 divisions, but you can take then the top.
You should reseed. I think change the whole everything about the playoffs. Have fun with it.
Yeah. Well, to that point, if we're looking at a 14-team playoff, which for whatever reason I think is going to happen, it's just a hunch that I have. We're gonna have 7 on each side. Probably have a bye week for the top seed. Along with home field advantage, and then you'll have 2 through 6, 3 versus 5. How does that work?
1 and 2 would get a bye.
Right.
7 teams in each division, though, so it should be 3 matchups in the first one in each division with the top seed getting a bye, right? 2 versus 6, 3. I don't know.
It would be the top 2 teams getting a bye.
Oh, all right, yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, major brain fart. But yeah, so I think if you're doing the 14-team playoff, then yeah, you're gonna have the divisions don't matter as much because you basically take the top of whatever that is and then have the best records behind it. I'm not too bothered about how they do the division alignment. Like I said, I prefer grapefruit just because it's easier. But if you're gonna do it Bob Nightingale style, that's fine with me too. I think that ultimately that's where this virus is still a concern. You have to do it with the smartest option.
So I think what they're doing is they're focusing on just getting a season together. If you've noticed, there's been no talk about postseason alignment. I just think they're going to go and wing it and say, let's see where the virus is and what the situation is as we get closer to the end of the season. And go from there.
My question is, and I think this is probably a big question as we're discussing the possibilities of how to reopen this or how to start the season, is how long of a leash do you get? What if a bullpen coach gets COVID? Nobody else, just the bullpen coach. Do you quarantine him and still continue the season, or would it take like a Justin Verlander to get,
Henry, what do you think?
I think Brian's mic sucks again. No, I think they'll have to take extraordinary measures. I think you'll have to, hopefully by then the testing will be at a point where we could get rapid testing. And I think you'll have to do something as drastic as test the players daily.
Yeah.
You take temperatures daily and
I did read on this Tampa article that they won't do it unless all the players can have access to testing.
Yeah.
That's one of the prerequisites for starting a season, which makes sense. And again, I don't think that's an unobtainable goal by the time mid-June hits for spring training or July and whatnot. At this point, I'm beyond. I look at this this is a major corporation. It made $10 billion last year. There's money in it for everyone. They're going to move heaven and earth to have baseball.
Yeah.
No baseball at all would be catastrophic for this sport, especially when you know your main competitors are football, who's almost not going to be affected at all, hockey, who can play indoors, and basketball, who can play indoors. They can start anytime this year and finish what they started, and they already got part of the season in basketball and hockey's case. Baseball cannot afford to sit on the sidelines. I know it sounds heinous because we're talking about people's lives here, but I'm looking at it from a business standpoint. There is a less than 1% chance you will see no baseball this year. Whether it's
the thing that's going to be annoying to hear is from non-sports media things is like, well, we got people still dying every day, and yet they're playing a sport. And that rhetoric or narrative out there is going to be annoying to hear.
It is, and it's wrong because we need the sport.
Is it really wrong? It's not really wrong.
It's not wrong, in its actual context, it's not wrong. But the counter to that is when we're in situations like this, just natural human tendencies, natural American tendencies, we need sports. It's that simple. If you're playing sports at the risk of people dying, that's a legitimate problem. But if they can get it to a point where
and I shouldn't say it's annoying. I want to take it. I feel like an a-hole there. It's not annoying. It's just like, but that's going to come up. It's like X, Y, and Z is still happening, but yet they're playing a silly game. But it's like, but to your point though, it's billions of dollars that are, a billion-dollar company is going to have more power than other entities.
Everyone's incentive here is for baseball, not just the players, not just the owners, but the local governments. You've already seen Ducey in Arizona. He's like 100% on board with this because the states need to make money. I mean, everyone economically is just hammered right now.
Mm-hmm.
People, government, sports, everyone is suffering right now economically. There's just no way that you have this solution here with minimal to moderate health risk, but the flip side to that is you can make yourself a few $1 billion this season. It's just not, you're not going to see that in America. You're not going to pass up that opportunity. It could sound horrible, I know, but that's just how it is. You will see baseball this season in some context, in some way.
And I think they've also done a really good job with multiple proposals and letting them leak out to kind of get the temperature of what people are thinking as well.
Right. I think that's smart to kind of like let us in the know. So just not us sitting in a corner in the dark being like, oh, what's going to happen? Just kind of like, hey, this is what we're toiling with,
No, they definitely have a plan and they're trying to do what's best for the players and for the support staff involved to make sure that, they do make the right choices. Because like you said, if someone comes down with it, then you have a set of problems that you have to deal with, which are different.
By the way,
because I always wonder, what if Rudy Gobert didn't get it? When does the world stop? How long do we go?
Yeah. I mean, there has to be a healing process. The baseball is usually.
Can we bring back Mike Piazza just to
Yeah, just hit a clutch home run.
We need
for America.
We need a Piazza-esque moment.
He should be wearing a cape when he does it too.
So fun fact, I went to Piazza's Griffey's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Like I was there during that weekend and stuff. And there's a TV just for that home run. It just plays over and over again.
Yeah. They, not to get all morbid, but they also play it on a loop in the 9/11 museum. It's like that important into American society.
Yeah.
That is that home run.
And I was there.
That is
You
cool.
were? Oh, wow.
That is cool. By the way, my Facebook had frozen, so I'm missing out on like 1 billion comments, which is great.
What sucks is I can't see past the
American society.
I see like 5 comments, and I was there.
Yeah.
And my mic cut out right when you guys were answering my question about how far do we go if a bullpen catcher gets it or Justin Verlander gets it.
I think that they if it's Verlander, that's a bigger situation to me than the bullpen coach. Not to marginalize someone's life, but I think that there has to be a protocol in place for that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but they have to have some sort of protocol in place. And like Henry said, they're going to have to test the shit out of these people. It's going to be a little uncomfortable for the players. And I think, guys, I was in the comment section criticizing Mike Trout for his comments on this. Guys like Mike Trout have to accept that. It's not going to be your ideal season. You may have to be away from your family longer than you want to be. You may have to be in some sort of quarantine. You may have to get tested a lot. And it's not to pick on Mike Trout individually, but players need to understand this season. Here's the other thing, too. This season, they need to make some compromises. And I almost always, like 99.9% of the time, side with players when it comes to their arguments with the owners. All about capitalism over here. Players deserve what they get. It's what their market value is. But this season, they're going to have to come together, and there are things, especially money-wise, that they're going to have to reach. Like, how are the salaries paid out and stuff like that? Because the teams aren't going to be making the same money they normally would. Players are going to be expecting their full contracts. I think they talked about sharing. Yeah, they talked about prorated pay, but the owners want to pay even less than that. And to your point, one of the solutions was revenue sharing. Whatever the revenue is, you assign a percentage to the owners, and then you assign a percentage to the players. They split the pot. It's some sort of math formula. I'm sure to figure that out. But
you also have an issue with the revenue sharing with team to team.
Yeah. How does the corporate welfare work this year?
You have something like, let's say we put in a policy. I say we, like I'm helping. But
yeah.
Let's say there's a policy in place where, because the elderly are the most, affected by this. Let's say MLB says you can't come in if you're 65 or older, 60 or older. Do you protect senior citizens? There's a lot to play with there.
Yeah. By the way, my very smart fellow Reds fan, since they're my second favorite team, Bruce Richardson finally figured out the math for me. That was 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. Sometimes when you're just live on air, you can't do simple math. That was the simple math I was trying to figure out for a playoff. I do think it'll be 14 teams. I do think it'll be probably at least 2 division winners, because I'm imagining there will be more than one division. But that doesn't even matter. It'll be seeded 1 through 7 in some capacity in both league. And then you'll have everyone except the top seeds playing each other. So
I just hope the competition committee grows a pair of balls and says, okay, after the season, there's just some things we're going to keep. We're going to realign divisions. We're going to keep DHs for all. Get used to it.
It's going to happen. I mean, like I said, there's just no way that you can say 2020 is going to happen and however it does, and 2021 will have no repercussions from it. Like, something's going to carry over. And then you've got the CBA issue at the end of 2021. So
then you have issues like trades, trades like a Mookie Betts trade. You're trading for guys with 1 season on their contracts. Like, how do you compensate the team somehow? Do you give them a comp draft pick? Do you give them?
And Tony Clark and the Players Union has to realize that aspect of this. Yes, you want to push for as much money as you can get this season, but if you don't, and if you refuse to play, and if there is no season, 2021's free agency period will be dog shit. Guys like Mookie Betts are going to get paid pennies on the dollar, and DJ LeMahieu.
It's going to be 2-3 years ago when no one was getting those big deals.
It'll be worse. Yeah, it'll be worse than that, because owners are going to have to need a few years to recoup what they lost. So they
Bryce Harper free agency.
At one point, we were saying, "Oh, is there collusion going on?" There'll be collusion this time.
Oh yeah, and the worst part of it is you can't hold it against the owners this time, because they really are going to be losing billions and billions of dollars if this doesn't happen. So in my mind, the Players Union they're going to have to take a little bit of a bath, but they do have 2021 in their back pocket with the CBA, and that's when they can say, "Look, we did this because everyone was hurting. Now it's time to make some of that money back." That would be my game plan if I'm
You know what? You guys just made me realize something. I thought Chris Bryant was all but gone, but I think because of all this, I think there's a chance the Cubs could re-sign him.
So how does it work with the?
It just hit me. It just hit me that because he has a Scott Boras client, all right, and I don't know how long you guys have been following Chris Bryant's contract situation, But
He was in the minor
he
league.
was like, what?
Yeah, since like the 8th day of the major leagues, I think.
Yeah. I'm just like, that just hit me that like because that $200 million contract, he's not going to get that, but let's just say that's what he wanted. That's not going to be out there.
I think Chris Bryant is waiting to give the Cubs a middle finger.
I think he is too.
Yeah,
but I
that
think,
marriage is over.
but you think so?
Yeah,
I do. I think that
they burned that bridge.
that
No,
marriage.
I agree. I mean,
it's like the Patriots and Brady. Like obviously Brady and Belichick had their disagreements, but I think Brady won too many times, fell on his sword when it came to contract negotiations. And I think Chris Bryant's going through the same thing with the Cubs. I think that marriage is fractured, and there's no chance they'll bring him back. I don't want to ruin your day.
Well, sorry for saying anything. I just was like, it just the light went on. I'm like, oh man, there's maybe a chance.
Sorry, yeah, and we immediately turned it back off.
Well, because before all this happened, I was kind of probably in the same boat, but I guess I forgot all those negative. Because I remember his interview when he got sent down, like in 2015, and boy, he was pissed. He was like, you should lead the league in home runs to get sent down, but whatever. I was like, oh man,
this appeal too. I mean, they screwed him on both ends.
But then what I've heard about that is I thought that wasn't necessarily. Well, he claims it's not him. It's just part of the players' union thing that they have to do. He made it seem like it wasn't. But I mean, who knows the truth on that?
He's got to toe the line. He's got to. He's still got to see teammates and executive. He's got to play that game and says, I let my agent deal with that. But
yeah, never mind. You guys are right.
Yeah, and James, if it makes you feel better, Brian, James Edwin Scott's torturing me in the comments section by saying he'd be a perfect Red Sox, which he's absolutely right. He would murder Fenway, and he's probably a fit.
There's also things that we have to think about. Randy brought up a good. He had a good comment in a section, which was, what happens with those teams that don't manage their money well, the Pirates and the Oakland A's, those small market teams.
Right. Although I think Chris Bryant's going to the West Coast if he leaves the Cubs. Be closer to his baby and his wife.
I can guarantee you that Bob Nutting will be a problem in this entire thing. He's going to be a pain in the ass some way, and he's a guy who gets corporate welfare from the Yankees. Well, if the Yankees don't have all of this surplus to pay him. Is
he not like top 3 richest owner?
Oh, yeah. I thought when I was trolling him in Above the Dugout, I think he's worth like $5 billion.
I think
he's himself, not just what the Pirates are worth.
I think he's like top 3 of the richest owners.
Yeah, he's a total piece of shit. And he will be a problem in this.
He's the Mitch McConnell of MLB.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. That's a perfect comparison. He is, however you feel about politics, you should be able to admit that Mitch McConnell's a colossal pain in the ass to our democracy. That is Bob Nutting in baseball. He's just a total troll job in walking human form. So you got me on Bob Nutting, and now I've lost all of my train of thought going forward because he makes me so
blackout rage.
Yeah, it really is.
You know what we could touch, since we did talk about Jeff Passan, as one thing he did tweet out a couple of days ago was them talking about the minor league season.
Yeah, so that's another good angle on this. Really, the prospects in general, I personally think if you're going to use any prospects this year and you're going to have expanded rosters, you'll see it. I think that they have to get arbitration. Like their pre-arb clock has to count for the year.
Yeah.
Because you can't play this like 2-month thing here. If you're going to use them, they need to get pre-arb. That's something the players union can get as a win. Because like I said, on the big money factors, they're probably taking a bath on this one. That's something that they can negotiate and say, if you're going to use my guy longer than like
Vince,
he's going to get a year of.
I think Vince blacked out. So what he was talking about was, no, you are gone for about 10 seconds there.
No, am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
All right, going through Zoom quarantine troubles. Yeah, what I was saying is that's like a minor win that the players can get is negotiating. You're up for like 5 days. you get your pre-arb year because they're going to take a bath on the big money issues. I don't think there's any way of getting around that. It's
weird because that affects so much. That's a trickle down effect because there's a lot of value there.
6 years from now, 6 years from now, that's going to come back to the owners. That's usually how the owners win this battle is they put something into the CBA and 3 years down the line, players get screwed. If players are smart again, they would do this and safeguard themselves for 5 years from now.
you'd see Tampa Bay make a ton of trades. They probably call up Wander Franco already. There's a lot of things that would happen if, if you're going to give guys service time now, they might as well say, fuck it, let me call up the best players.
Use them from day one. It makes it more competitive, and it makes there's more things for us as fans to watch.
Stop making sense.
Like these to me are like very easy compliments. Bring up Clark Schmidt from day one. Have him pitch me games for the Yankees. The Yankees are going to probably make the playoffs anyway. So
stay Florio's ass in center field when Hicks goes down.
Yeah, because the alternative here is these guys get no playing time because they're not going to be a minor league. So they're going to get no playing. It's going to stunt their growth for 2 years. Instead of bringing them up early, you eat the year of pre-arb, but you have a more competitive team theoretically.
Or we have one big fucking World Baseball Classic full of minor league.
I think Felipe mentioned the World Baseball Classic. That's a really good idea, though. That idea I like. I don't like the World Baseball Classic being the season, and obviously it's not going to happen in addition to the season. But if you want to have a minor league World Baseball Classic, that's awesome. I am all about that.
Have a minor league World Baseball Classic.
Have
a tournament style. Keep them playing. Track their progression. That's what you do.
I'd watch that for sure.
How's Puerto Rico's COVID situation? You have it there? Because that's also a nice compromise.
You could have it there health-wise. I don't know if the island could sustain it now with the earthquakes going on.
Yeah. When are they ever, just having peace? with
that would be great. Because what is it? It's Miami, Puerto Rico, and Florida that they usually use here. And then they use, Venezuela and China. But, yeah, I think it's Puerto Rico, Miami. It's somewhere else that they play. Puerto Rico, Miami, and somewhere else.
Because that's the only problem I see is that you're going to need everything in America for the major league teams. I'm assuming, unless you want to play in, college stadiums.
Yeah.
Because there's probably no college season. That would be the only thing. But if you have it in a place like Puerto Rico where you're trying to expand to anyway, pretty sweet. Or Vegas. Does Vegas have stadiums yet? Because that'd be great.
Oh, I like the Puerto Rico.
Yeah, they have one. They have a minor league stadium.
There you go. I don't know if the whole World Baseball Classic could be in one stadium, but it's a start. Maybe you can split time. Here's another conspiracy theory. Have the minor league World Baseball Classic in all the markets you're planning on expanding into in a few years and see how it does. Not going to find out about whether you have fans who like baseball than watching minor league all-stars compete against each other for national pride. That's a great litmus test.
There's a Facebook page I've been following since college. It's called Bring Baseball to Charlotte, and it started with 200 likes. Over 8 years later, it probably has 13,000 people liking it, and it's just so funny because it's Charlotte really wants a baseball team, from what I gather.
Oh yeah, they're Portland, Charlotte, Orlando, obviously pushing for it in a very Orlando way. We're going to declare ourselves undefeated any minute now. It's going to be awesome. Even without a baseball team, we'll be undefeated forever because there's never been a team in Orlando, UCF style. A resident Puerto Rican expert, Renee, has destroyed all of my plans, saying it's not going to be possible for anything in 2020, maybe 2021.
Our Puerto Rican correspondent, Renee. Of course, is close to the island.
He is our Puerto Rican expert.
What the fuck am I?
you too, but Renee has lived on the island for many, many years. He doesn't now, but during the whole hurricane, he was
Renee, I was going to say he migrated because of the hurricane.
Yeah, I mean, he was our inside source for everything going on that island. Did a fantastic job keeping us all in the loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's my point, Brian and Henry, is that if you're going to do a minor league tournament, have it in some of the best minor league markets that want to be major league markets. See how it goes. I can't work out the logistics entirely, but that would be my rough blueprint.
What I find is funny. So I have a summer league baseball team. It's Division I college guys that come play over the summer in my town.
It's like a Cape Cod league. But
it's the minor league of that. Yeah, basically.
Okay. that's getting pretty minor, but okay.
Yeah, it is.
Football players.
So the owner is convinced that we're going to have a season by June 1st. And the thing is those games are not really attended much anyways. And I just think small town America is still going to be scared, like to not, so it's like, I just don't think it's going to happen. And I agree on the professional thing, but I think any levels lower than like Cape Cod and this league that is in Springfield, and it goes to like maybe Ohio and Pennsylvania, I don't see it. I don't see it
See,
happening because it's just not attended of when everything's perfect in the world anyway.
that's where you have to be careful, because those are the leagues that are clearly doing it for money and nothing else.
Right. Well, they have to. I mean, there's hardly any money in it as it is when things are good. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I can share you even more anecdotally and even more minor league wise. My co-ed softball team over here in crazy Florida, where we don't even have laws, they have gone from being like, there's no softball starting in April, there's no softball starting in May, to like, we'll tell you when there's going to be softball again. So these minor league, these like minor leagues, yeah, I agree with you. They're not playing. It's just. It's not going to happen. But
I mean, they're like, if this tells you anything, their prospect league is what it's called. It's their Facebook page has 2,600 likes, so it's not very much. And it's just they have like 3 towns in where I'm from, but then they have the Chillicothe, DuPage, Hannibal, Missouri. Like, I don't know. It kind of goes in the Midwest / Pennsylvania. Yeah, and I'm sure there's other leagues like the Prospect League. I just can't see it. But yet everyone wants to be over optimistic, and I think even the minor league level would struggle for attendance, possibly.
Yeah, I think those are fair takes. I'm looking back at this. I think the finance part obviously is the most important thing that has to get figured out. I'm looking back at this Passan article, and he says instead of the $4 billion plus in collective salary they're owed, they're going to get $170 million they negotiated in a late March agreement with MLB. That money runs out at the end of May, which for leverage purposes, you'll see why later, again aligns with there being movement toward a plan around that time. So what he's saying is that basically everyone is being paid through May 31st. That's why May 31st also is kind of a doomsday scenario, because you need to figure out if there's going to be a season by then. Not only to have spring training ramp up in time to have a season worth of shit, but also because everyone's going to stop getting paid. So that's another, like all of these things, it's not only, it's the timeline that has to be worked out, it's also the slice of the pie everyone's going to get. That's the one barrier. But like I said, my official stance on this is players are going to have to take a hit at the top. They can get a few concessions at the bottom, and they can make up for it after 2021 when all their jobs.
It's kind of like what you said before about Major League Baseball being a $10 billion industry. Unfortunately or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, is money drives all this.
Yeah,
people say health is the most important thing, and ideally health is the most important thing. But let's be real, to a lot of people, money is the most important.
It always comes back to money.
And that trickles down from the top. It's not even just baseball. Our government, both local and federal, wants baseball to happen. That is, there's no president.
And I don't want to sound like a hater. I'm just saying, like, if this falls apart and the backlash of this, I mean,
it's huge. But that's part of the point, though, is like even our White House administration wants this to happen because it's a little bit of a healing. It's going to make things a little more normal and a little bit better. And he's got an election coming up in November. And then you have the local governments who want to have that. Any governor right now in the U.S. wants to look at a state and be like, we're out of it. The worst is behind us. We're opening things back up. We're easing social distancing. The cases are going down, and you've got baseball to watch. If they can reach that point, they've made their political careers. If it backfires, they've ruined it.
I don't want baseball to be California beaches. Hooray, the beaches are open. Oh, shit, everybody's there. Close the beaches.
Right. It's definitely a dance. I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying every single level of this has incentive for there to be baseball, and there will be baseball. It's just, that's where I'm at. I'll be color me shocked. You can rub it in my face if there's not. I'm 99%
I'm
sure
with
there will
you.
be baseball.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's baseball, I'm going to be kind of pissed at myself for buying probably $200 worth of games to prepare for no sports for the next 8 months.
Yeah, well, that's the one downside. But and really the thing, Brian, you brought it up earlier that is upsetting is how and when will we have fans at the game?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to think by October, November, when the playoffs would start, there will be fans in every ballpark. I think that's on the table. It's not a guarantee. We have to see.
My thing is, I think we don't have it until there's a vaccine.
I don't think they're going to do that. I really don't, because even if you have a vaccine, there's no guarantee it's going to work. You don't know when it's going to be put into play. It's definitely not going to be during the 2020 baseball season. So I think there's a 100% effective way to go about this, and that's what you just said. And there's a way that baseball and sports are going to go about it, which is 75 to 80% success rate. It's not 100%, but they're going to do it because there's billions of dollars on the line. So I would be shocked if you had a postseason of which there were no fans present. I just can't.
I hope it's there.
Yeah, and I hope. I'm not that. I won't guarantee because again, I think baseball is the bottom line. There has to be games, and they will make sure that happens. But as far as the fans' involvement, we'll see.
I'd never not wanted a refund ever in my life more than I don't want a refund from the Yankees for my tickets.
How many did you? So were you already deep into it?
Oh, we already paid. We paid for our 20-game season.
So what happens with that? What's the latest?
We get refunded for, I think, all games that were missed so far. So.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Cubs did their own thing too for the same kind of deal, like games that were missed.
Yeah, I think they're only refunding technically missed games so far.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Well, I think we've pretty much hit on everything.
Are we prepared to be in the stands like this?
That'd be kind of cool. That would be cool. If you can here's another way you can profit on this. You can make masks with your team logo.
Oh my gosh. Fanatics will get on that tomorrow.
I remember, I thought this was so cool. The Phillies, during their 08 playoff run, probably 09 as well, they had those towels. They had whiteouts basically in the crowd. You can do that with masks. That's intimidating.
I have a Yankees mask.
Yeah. 50,000 Yankee masks in the crowd. I'd be shitting my pants if I was in that stadium.
So I don't think this will surprise you, but I looked on Fanatics a couple weeks ago because I'm like, well, if we're going to do this mask thing, I might as well try to make it cool and get a Cubs one.
Yeah.
No MLB ones have been made by an official thing. NFL, though, had a...
Well, that's no surprise. I'm assuming that you're going to say NFL already has masks. I mean, they outmarket MLB any day of the week. I don't think anyone could argue that. But I have seen it. I don't know if they're Chinese knockoffs on Facebook or not. But
they probably are.
Yeah, I have seen MLB masks out there. I don't know if they're effective at all, but I've seen them.
I think they're masks that are mask coverings. They go over your real masks. I don't think they're designed. They're not medical grade or anything.
Oh, the ones that on the Fanatics ones?
Yeah.
Oh.
But even so,
you get me into Walmart.
do mask giveaways every day, every game.
Right. That is a good idea.
Walmart was already the strangest place on earth before all of this. You know who's happy that the season is taking longer because he thinks that he can get another contract somehow is Albert Pujols. Did you see that?
No.
Albert Pujols says he hasn't closed the door on playing past his contract, which ends in 2021.
Well, I think 30 teams have probably closed that door for him. But
he's definitely quarantining the good stuff.
Yeah, a man can dream. I've got no problem.
Hey, plantar fasciitis, he's had however many months to heal from it now.
What does he have left on his contract? 2 years?
Next year.
Yeah.
Next year.
End of 2021. Yeah, okay. That's a big – next 2 free agency years are interesting.
Gosh, I feel so old. I remember I was in college when he signed that contract. I'm so old. I was at college at a Cardinals university.
What year was that? So we can make you feel young. Yeah. 2011, I was working professionally and living in Connecticut.
You don't look that. How old are you?
32. So I wasn't that far out of college. Henry.
Yeah, I'm 31. I was 30.
You guys are young.
Yeah,
So Vince, you look like you're around my age. So I was like, man,
I'll
You guys
accept
both,
it.
you got that
both
you got that
both you
Florida.
folks are older than me. That's the best part, and I'm the oldest one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I take off my hat, I'll age 5 years, but I'll take that. That works for me. But yeah, and we both look older than Henry, who's like 7 years young or older than us. Anyway, I think we've pretty much covered everything. We're going to see. This was good. I mean, there was a lot of participation, a lot of viewership. I think that pretty much indicates what people want. As much as we love going role players every week, I think that one of these every so often is good. So
we need time out. We need giveaways with masks, bobbleheads with masks on.
There's so much you can do with masks. I bet in the Asian leagues they've already done it randomly, like before COVID ever happened. We can definitely bring that over here. So, and Felipe said Yadier Molina also said the same. The Molina brothers though do play until they're like 60, I feel like, and they're catchers, which makes no sense.
Yeah, but Molina isn't as old as Pujols, so that one kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but he's a catcher.
My friend has a theory that anytime everyone's bored, Yadier Molina just says something on Instagram to get everyone riled up, but he doesn't mean it.
I can see that. He's trolled before, hasn't he?
You know, like he's just smarter than everyone. I mean, he fought with Chris Bryant last year out of randomly. Like, it just.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Machado had his fun, too, in his free agency or with his trolling. I think they get a kick out of that. But anyway, we're going to wrap this up. We're at the top of the hour here. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. Dong City will be back next week, Monday nights. As always, we will give you a tease as to what's to come once we figure it out ourselves. If anyone has any suggestions, always the case, feel free to reach out to Henry or I or make a status or whatever you want, and we will consider it. So thank you, Brian, again, for being our guest here, and have a great night.
Dong City, bitches.
Bye, Felicia's.